All right, so today we're going to talk about how we're going to use proportional tables or ratios to come up with our slope, which don't forget is the steepness of how we're going to draw our line. So what we're going to do here is you can solve for slope in a relationship, a ratio or a proportional table by looking at how we change x to become y. Now, sometimes we can either add or multiply to get the y. We're not going to subtract and we're not going to divide, so we've got to change those two things to either add or multiply. Okay, so let's look at our first example. So if we have this, we have our table that says x is 1, y is 5. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look to see, first of all, what am I going to add to 1 to equal 5? Well, we're going to add 4. So does that hold true? So if we change that question mark to a 4, we know that holds true. Does it hold true every other time in the table? And yes, it does. So if we continue on down through here, and you're going to check all of them to make sure. So when it does, we're now going to say that these values here in this first column represent x. So x plus 4 is equal to, and the numbers in that were equal to were all in my y column from my table. So my equation is going to be y equals x plus 4. So that's going to be our function rule for this table. Let's look at another one. So let's say we have this table. We go from -5 to 10. So if I look at -5, can I add some number to equal 10? Well, to do that, I would have to add 15. Does that work for the next one? -3 plus 15 is going to give me 12. That does not work because I needed 6 as an answer. So since adding won't work, I'm going to go back up here and we're going to look at multiplying after I get this erased. Okay? So now, -5 times what would give me 10? Well, a negative times a negative will give me positive. So 5 times 2 would give me 10. Now let's see if that will hold true. -3 times -2 is positive 6. -1 times -2 is 2. A positive 1 times a -2 is -2. And a positive 3 times -2 is -6. So if I write that as a function, remember this first column represents my x times -2 is equal to y. Now, I'm okay with that, but if you'll remember when we talked about our coefficients and our variables, remember that we like our coefficient first. So this is the better way to write that equation because their coefficient is in front of the variable. Okay, let's look at this next one. Okay, I want you to look at this one and tell me, is it going to be an additive relationship, meaning am I going to add, or is it going to be a multiplicative relationship, meaning I'm going to multiply? All right, so let's look. -2 plus what would give me 6? So that means I'm going to have to add 8. So 4 plus 8 is 12. That works. 15 plus 8 is 23. That works. And 20 plus 8 is 28. So that works. So my equation here would be x plus 8 equals y. Okay, let's look at another one. Here we have 20 and 4. So first I want you to tell me, is this going to be a additive relationship or a multiplicative relationship, meaning am I going to add or multiply? All right, so if we go from 20, if I add a -16, I would get 4, which means I'm going to subtract 16. 15 plus negative 16 would give me negative 1. So now that no longer works. Okay? So now I want to go back and see if I can add or multiply anything. So, I'm sorry, multiply or divide. Because it's going down, I know I'm going to multiply by a fraction, which means I'm dividing. So 20 divided by 5 would give me 4. Okay, but remember, I don't like this dividing, so I need to change that to a multiply. And when I do that, I'm going to take the reciprocal of this 5. Now, 5 was a fraction of 5 over 1. So when I multiply it, it's actually going to be multiplying by 1/5. So we're going to multiply by 1 over 5. And that gives me 4. 15 times 1 over 5. That gives me 3. 10 times 1 over 5 gives me 2. And you can be checking this on Desmos. 5 times 1 over 5 gives me 1. And 1 times 1 over 5 gives me 1 over 5. Okay? So in this case, it was a multiplicative relationship. And it was a multiplicative relationship because we are multiplying by 1 over 5.